Okay, now that you can hear me, you'll be probably wondering what is that loud noise that has been going on in the background. And that is the air ventilator or air blower that you see over here on my left. Okay, so in this video, we're going to measure a few variables. The first one being the weight, followed by the fan speed, using the anemometer, and then of course we have a sound meter here to measure the decibels. So you know, actually, are you actually damaging your hearing, right, just by leaving this on, right? So looking at on the left here, which is our air ventilator or floor blower, this one is a 12 cm diameter. It uses about 520 watts of power, and in terms of the weight, I can tell you this is a fair bit more than the AM1202 we have on the right. Okay, so starting off with the AM1202, the weight, we already know it is 4.7 kg. Easily lifted up, and you can even stack up more than 2 or 3 together if you need to cover all the wheels of your vehicle, or if you want to jerry chain it or daisy link it so that you can cool yourself down as well as your vehicle. Okay, for the unit here on my left, this is the traditional industrial air blower. You can only link up one cable to one power point. This particular unit comes in, I would say, is about 10 kg odds. It uses 520 watts of power. This is 124 watts, 520 watts. And like I mentioned, it's 12 inches in diameter. So this is a fair bit bigger unit than the Vacmaster we have on the right. However, we feel that this is a medium-sized air blower which most people would use for their Sepang or their home use or industrial use, whatever the use case scenario. This is a medium-sized unit. We also have another one over there which is sitting there, but we will not use this because we feel that this one is slightly smaller. So it is roughly the same throughout most air ventilators or floor blowers that we have on the left here. Alright, so without further ado, we will get to the measurement. We have some scientific or rather ways that we will demonstrate the different air speeds as well as the decibels in terms of the noise that it makes. Okay, so what we have here is a little setup that we have. Over here on the left is our Vacmaster AM1202. On the right, we have the traditional floor blower or ventilator, and they are placed on this 1.8 meter long table. So we have set up a measuring tape. The total length is 1.8 meters, and we're going to measure it at both 1.8 meters as well as 1 meter. Why these measurements? The reason why is simply because at the track, usually you are blowing directly at your brakes or at yourself. So usually you'll be even lesser than these distances that I've mentioned. So what we have over here is an anemometer. We're going to test it in accordance to km per hour, and we're just going to see the maximum amount of wind speed that we can get from these devices, and also the area of effect. So of course, for such a small outlet such as the AM1202, of course you're going to get a smaller surface area when compared to the bigger ventilator or floor blower on the right. Okay, so just get it started. We also have a camera here that will show you the readings of the device, so everything is very fair. Okay, so let's start the experiment. We're going to use speed number 3 as a reference. Okay, so now starting off at the lowest position, you can see that the wind speed is hovering at about 18 to about 20. Okay, so I'm just going to move it a bit further so it's a bit more fair. Okay, making sure you can see it. So as we are moving it, you can see that the fan speed, it really depends on how far away and how you position the fan. Okay, so but more or less, if you are in the maximum amount of wind speed, you're looking at about 20 km per hour of wind speed. Okay, so of course if you go higher up, you can see that you still have lesser wind speed, but somewhat still significant if you are using this to cool yourself down. Right. So over here you can see there's not much wind. Okay, if we bring it nearer to 1 meter, Alright, so you can see that the wind speed is going at about 27 km per hour. And of course at the other positions you get lower fan speeds overall. Okay, so now let's repeat it for the other device. We'll switch this off right now. You're gonna have to bear with me because it's gonna be quite loud for the ventilator. So we will actually tabulate the readings on the table below, so you can actually see roughly what is the readings that we have derived from this experiment. Next we'll go on to the sound meter. Okay, so the ambient sound meter right now is, if I don't speak, it's about 50 odd decibels. Okay, so the thing about decibels is every 10 decibels that you increase is not 2 times louder. Every 10 decibel actually means that it's 10 times louder than the previous reading. So of course if you are getting a very loud reading, right, from 70 to 80, it's actually 10 decibels, or it's actually 10 times more loud than the previous device or the previous decibels. So that's something to take note of. Is that decibels is not linear, it is exponential in fact. So that's why it's very important to protect your hearing at all times, especially if you are in somewhere like Sepang, right? So let's switch on the Vacmaster right now. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it off center because the wind speed might be affecting the sound as well. So I'm going to put it off center. You can see that the sound will hover at about 65 decibels. Alright, so for the reading of the AM1202, you can see that the reading is about 65 decibels. So I think that is still fairly soft. It's 65 decibels is something like a normal conversation. Okay, right now we're going to switch on the floor ventilator and then we're going to see what is the decibel reading. So if you could tell from the decibel reading, it was going at about 85 decibels. So that's pretty loud. 85 decibels is something like near to a construction site or a very loud radio playing in the background. So that's how loud it is in terms of the decibels. We'll also do up a table for you so that you will know what is the range of decibels that, so that you can take reference from that and you know roughly what it is similar to. So from our little experiments, I hope you understand the key differences between the two. The traditional floor blower or ventilator definitely provides much stronger airflow, but it comes at a very hefty cost in terms of the weight, the sound that it produces. And if you compare it to our Vacmaster AM1202, the differences isn't far off in terms of the wind speed. You can see that it still achieves 25 km per hour at 1 meter, which is comparable to the traditional red color floor blower. While at a much cheaper cost, weight and surface area, because you usually need to store this in the boot of your vehicle, so of course space might be a constraint. The Vacmaster is stackable, you can stack 3 up together, whereas for the floor blower, of course, it is not stackable and it takes up quite a bit of space, as you can see. If you have any other questions or you'd like to know more about our devices, Vacmaster, in terms of our wet and dry vacuums or any of our air movers, do let us know. We can be contactable on WhatsApp, email, or any of the e-commerce sites such as Lazada or Shopee or Carousel. Alright, thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you in the next one.